Our world is a truly magnificent place, a delicate web of life that has thrived for millions of years. This balance, however, is now under threat. We are witnessing a rapid change in our planet's climate. This isn't just about the weather on a single day. It is about a long-term shift in temperature and weather patterns across the globe. For decades, human activities have been releasing vast amounts of gases into the atmosphere. These gases, like carbon dioxide, act like a blanket, trapping the sun's heat and causing the Earth to warm up. This process is known as the greenhouse effect. And while it is natural to some extent, our actions have made that blanket far too thick, leading to what we now call climate change. This warming has profound consequences for every living thing. It disrupts the natural rhythms of our planet, the very rhythms that have governed life for millennia. The seasons are changing, glaciers are melting, and sea levels are rising at an alarming rate. It is a change that is happening faster than many species, including our own, can adapt to. The stability that has allowed human civilizations and natural ecosystems to flourish is now being eroded. Understanding this fundamental shift is the first step towards appreciating the urgency of the situation we now face. The health of our home, this precious blue marble in the vastness of space, depends entirely on our comprehension and our response. The year 2024 served as a stark and undeniable warning. It has been confirmed by scientists all over the world as the hottest year ever recorded since we began keeping track in 1850. This is not a random fluctuation or a statistical anomaly. It is part of a clear and accelerating trend. For the first time in our history, the global average temperature for an entire year rose more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above the levels seen before the industrial age. This number is significant because it represents a critical threshold that scientists have long warned us about. Crossing it, even for a single year, signals that we are entering a new, more dangerous phase of climate instability, a reality that demands our immediate and undivided attention. Why does this matter so much? A seemingly small increase in the global average temperature has enormous effects. It fuels more extreme weather events, making heat waves hotter, droughts longer, and storms more powerful. It bleaches our vibrant coral reefs, turning them into ghostly white graveyards. It threatens the food and water supplies that billions of people rely upon for their survival. The record-breaking heat of 2024 is a clear message from our planet. It is a fever, a symptom of a deeper problem that we have created. We are fundamentally altering the chemistry of our atmosphere and the physics of our climate system, and the consequences are now unfolding before our very eyes. The evidence for our warming world is overwhelming and comes from every corner of the globe. Scientists, using data from satellites, weather stations, ocean buoys, and ice cores, have pieced together an undeniable picture of change. The primary evidence for 2024's record heat is the temperature data itself. Organizations like NASA and the World Meteorological Organization independently confirmed that the global average temperature surpassed all previous records. The past 10 years are now officially the 10 warmest years in recorded history, a clear sign of a relentless upward trend. This isn't a matter of opinion or debate. It is a conclusion based on meticulous measurement and scientific consensus. Beyond the air temperature, our oceans tell an equally alarming story. The oceans have absorbed over 90% of the extra heat trapped by greenhouse gases. In 2024, the amount of heat stored in the upper layers of the ocean reached yet another record high. This immense thermal energy doesn't just stay there. It fuels more powerful hurricanes and typhoons and disrupts marine ecosystems from the surface to the deep. At the same time, the world's frozen regions are visibly shrinking. In 2024, Antarctic sea ice recorded its second lowest extent in history. In the Arctic, the ice cap continues its long-term decline. This melting ice contributes directly to rising sea levels, posing a direct threat to coastal communities worldwide. The fingerprints of climate change are also visible in the increasing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. The year 2024 was marked by devastating floods that submerged entire communities, ferocious wildfires that raged across continents, and punishing heat waves that shattered temperature records in cities around the world. In North America and Europe, unprecedented heat scorched the land, while parts of Asia and South America were inundated by historic floods. These are not isolated incidents. They are the predictable consequences of a warmer, more energetic climate system. Each event serves as a painful reminder of our planet's growing instability and the vulnerability of our societies. This cascade of evidence paints a clear and coherent picture. The science is not new, but the reality has never been so stark. For decades, climate models have predicted exactly what we are now experiencing. The confirmation of 2024 as the hottest year on record is not a surprise to the scientific community, but a solemn validation of their warnings. From the vast expanse of the oceans to the highest mountain glaciers, from the sweltering tropics to the melting poles, the Earth itself is providing the evidence. We must now listen to what it is telling us, for the health of our planet and the future of all life depends on it. While climate change is a global problem, its impacts are not felt equally. The cruel irony of this crisis is that the regions and people who have contributed the least to the problem are often the ones who suffer the most. Developing nations, small island states, and indigenous communities are on the front lines. Their livelihoods are often closely tied to the natural world, making them particularly vulnerable to droughts, floods, and rising seas. Places like the Pacific islands of Tuvalu and Kiribati face the existential threat of being swallowed by the ocean. In the Sahel region of Africa, expanding deserts and unpredictable rainfall threaten the food security of millions of people. These vulnerable regions are not the ones responsible for the vast majority of historical emissions. The largest producers of greenhouse gases have been, and continue to be, the world's wealthiest and most industrialized nations. Historically, countries in North America and Europe built their economies on fossil fuels, releasing enormous amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Today, rapidly industrializing nations, particularly China, are the largest annual emitters, though their historical contribution per person remains lower. This disparity between who causes the problem and who suffers its worst consequences creates a profound moral and ethical challenge that sits at the very heart of the climate crisis. The consequences of inaction are dire for people, animals, and the environment. For humans, it means more displacement as homes become uninhabitable, increased conflict over scarce resources like water, and greater risks to public health from heat stress and the spread of diseases. For the animal kingdom, it is a catastrophe. Species are struggling to adapt to rapidly changing habitats. The Great Barrier Reef is bleaching, polar bears are losing their hunting grounds, and countless other species are being pushed towards extinction. Our planet's rich biodiversity, the result of billions of years of evolution, is being unraveled in the span of a single human lifetime, a loss that will be permanent. The economic toll is also staggering. Extreme weather events destroy infrastructure, disrupt supply chains, and cripple industries like agriculture and tourism. The cost of rebuilding after storms and fires runs into the hundreds of billions of dollars each year, a burden that strains national budgets and slows down development. Allowing the climate crisis to unfold unchecked is not just an environmental issue, it is an economic and humanitarian disaster in the making. The stability of our global society is intricately linked to the stability of our climate. We are all connected in this crisis, but the weight of its impact falls most heavily on the shoulders of the most vulnerable. The scale of the climate crisis can feel overwhelming, but it is crucial to remember that we are not helpless. We have the knowledge, the tools, and the ingenuity to change course. The solutions require action at every level of society, from international agreements down to individual choices. Governments hold the greatest power to drive systemic change. They must set ambitious, legally binding targets to reduce national emissions. This means rapidly transitioning our energy systems away from fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, and investing heavily in clean, renewable sources like solar and wind power. Policies that put a price on carbon pollution and end subsidies for fossil fuels are essential to accelerating this shift. Companies and industries also have a critical role to play. They must transform their business models to become sustainable and environmentally responsible. This involves innovating to create low-carbon products, reducing waste throughout their supply chains, and investing in technologies that capture carbon from the atmosphere. The corporate world possesses immense power to influence markets and drive technological progress. By embracing sustainability not as a burden but as an opportunity, businesses can become powerful allies in the fight against climate change, creating green jobs and building a more resilient global economy for the future. Ultimately, the power for change also rests with each of us as individuals. Our daily choices, when multiplied by billions, can create a powerful ripple effect. We can reduce our personal carbon footprint by being mindful of how we travel, what we eat, and how much energy we consume at home. We can choose to support businesses that are committed to sustainability. Perhaps most importantly, we can use our voices. We can talk to our friends and family about the importance of this issue, and we can demand that our elected leaders and local representatives take bold and decisive climate action. Every action, no matter how small it may seem, contributes to a larger movement for change. We are at a crossroads in the history of our species. The record heat of 2024 is not a final verdict, but a final warning. It is a call to action for all of humanity. The challenge is immense, but so is our capacity for cooperation and innovation. We must now summon the collective will to protect our shared home. The future of this extraordinary planet, with all its wonder and beauty, is in our hands. Let us work together to heal our world and ensure a safe, healthy, and thriving future for the generations that will follow us. The time for excuses is over. The time for action is now.